speed is my motto, nothing's ever holding back.
Welcome back to the Lone Road iRacing podcast. I'm your host, Guy Robertson. And this week, you've got just me. No Brendan today. Hopefully he'll be back next week preparing for a new segment in the podcast. But don't worry, you've got me in the seat, tea in hand, ready to talk about something that every single sim racer has gone through at least once. We are now mid-season, in the current season on iRacing. So for some of us, that you may or may be thinking about quitting iRacing. Maybe you've had a run of bad luck. Your iRating's been shredded, every race feels like chaos, and suddenly the fun's gone. You find yourself looking at your rig thinking, what's the point? Well, if that's you, you're not alone. Because today we're going to talk about why iRacers quit and how to keep that spark alive. This isn't about guilt-tripping anyone for taking a break. It's about understanding why the burnout happens in the first place, how to reset your mindset, and how to get the joy back into racing once again. Even if that means stepping away from iRacing for a while, but doing it in a way that actually makes you a better driver when you return. So let's get into it. Let's hit the grid. Let's be honest here, listeners and viewers. We all start iRacing with pure excitement. That feeling when you get your first clean race, your first podium, or that first overtake that makes you shout out loud in your own house. It feels like magic. But somewhere down the line, for a lot of people, it starts to fade. And it's not because we stop loving iRacing, it's because racing starts to feel a little bit like work. You start caring more about your safety rating than your driving. You chase iRating instead of improvement. You begin dreading qualifying because you know the first corner will be a mess. And soon what was once your escape becomes your frustration. Believe me, I've been there. I've had those nights where I've sat in the pits after a wreck thinking, why am I even doing this? That's the wall, the iRacers burnout barrier. So why do people hit it? We're gonna break it all down. The number one reason for iRacing burnout is because iRacing is demanding, mentally and emotionally. We focus, we practice, we analyse replays, and we often expect perfection. But iRacing is chaotic. Sometimes you can do everything right and still end up in the wall. That pressure builds. You start racing tight, second guessing yourself, losing confidence, and when the results don't come, the brain checks out. Oh yes, the classic, the dive bombers, the netcode hits, the 4X, that wasn't even your fault. Every sim racer has those races where chaos finds you no matter what. When that keeps happening, frustration actually provides fatigue. What about when you actually plateau as well? It's quite a sneaky one. You're improving for months, your lap times drop, your racecraft actually improves and sharpens. Then suddenly it stops. You can't get any faster. Your results are stagnating. That plateau kills motivation faster than any other crash. And then we start to look for comparisons. You watch others climb the ladder, Streamers setting alien lap times, for example, and you start feeling like you're falling behind. You forget that everyone's journey is different and that comparing yourself to others is a guaranteed shortcut to misery. Let's face it, iRacing also isn't cheap. And it's not light on time either. Subscriptions, new cars, new tracks, it adds up. And when real life gets busy, racing time shrinks, making every bad race feel like a waste of your precious 3 hours. Combine all that we've just spoken about, and the equation starts to like more stress plus less fun equals burnout. But here's the thing, quitting completely isn't the only option. There is a smarter one. So, taking a break doesn't mean giving up. It means resetting. Think about professional athletes. They don't train 24/7. They rest, they recover, they review, and we can all do that ourselves. The difference between quitting and resettling or resetting is intent. If you walk away because you're angry, you're letting frustration control you. But if you step away with purpose, to rest, to try something new, to reset your goals, you come back sharper. It's about reframing that pause as part of the process. When you reset, you're saying, I'm not done with iRacing, I'm just rebuilding the joy I had when I started. And that joy can absolutely be rebuilt, viewers and listeners. So we're going to talk now about practical ways to fall back in love with iRacing again. Sometimes you don't need to walk away from iRacing, you just need to change how you approach it. So here are a few ways to bring that spark back. Now, this is not to go something and do something completely different. This is about doing something different mentally to get out of your iRacing mindset and to reset and come back stronger and ready to be a competitive racer on iRacing again. So here are a few ideas I've put together. Change the car or series. If you're grinding the same series week after week, stop. Try something fresh. Maybe jump into the Formula Ford or the FF1600, and the Mazda MX-5, or what about the Radical? Something that reminds you of the fun side of iRacing. But what about racing against AIs? No pressure, no iRating, no chaos, just you on the track. AI racers are brilliant for focusing on clean laps, consistency and confidence, plus you can tailor the difficulty to push yourself without the fear of being punted off. What about switching goals? Instead of chasing iRating, chase consistency. Set goals like 0 off tracks for 5 races. Hit every apex perfectly on lap 1. Improve average lap times by 0.2 seconds per session. Those micro goals actually build momentum, and momentum beats burnout every time. What about watching and learning? Sometimes watching others race rekindles the passion. Watch replays, onboard videos, or pro streams. Not to compare, but to study, to get inspired, to remember why iRacing looked so damn cool. What about joining a league or race with friends? Public lobbies can wear you down, but racing with a community, one that knows your name, respects your space, changes everything. You'll remember the social side of sim racing, the banter, and the shared struggles. And what about redefining what success for you actually looks like? You don't need to win. You don't even need a podium. Sometimes the most rewarding races are the ones where you held a slide perfectly, defended cleanly, or just brought it home without a 4x. That's success. That is progress. Now, I spoke earlier about alternatives that actually sharpen iRacing skills so when you come back, you're a little bit sharper. Maybe you do want to step away from maybe you do want to step away from iRacing for a bit, and that's totally fine. But if you still want to keep your racecraft sharp, there are some incredible alternatives that can actually improve your iRacing skills while you're giving it a break from all the pressure. Let's call this off-season training grounds, if you like. What about looking at Assetto Corsa Competizione? This one's perfect for refining GT racing fundamentals. It teaches smoothness, managing weight transfer, trail braking, tyre management as well. ACC punishes jerky inputs and rewards precision. If you spend a few sessions in ACC, you'll find your corner entry and exit balance improving dramatically when you come back into iRacing. And then there's the original Assetto Corsa, the modern playground. Here you can drive anything, old school F1 cars, touring cars, drift machines. The physics teach you about car behaviour under extreme conditions. Practicing slides and transitions here can make you more comfortable catching spins in iRacing. It's like flight school for car control. Automobilista 2 or AMS 2 is like weather boot camp. It simulates changing conditions brilliantly, from dry to damp to wet, so you can practice adaptation, grip feel and patience. If you want to prepare for iRacing's evolving weather systems, AMS2 is a great sandbox. What about RaceRoom? RaceRoom has some of the best AI in sim racing. If you want to work on close racing, overtaking and defending without the risk of iRating disaster, this is gold. The door-to-door AI teaches you racecraft under pressure. Now, here's an out-the-box thought. What about a karting sim? I know there's not many out there, but there is a couple. It teaches you weight transfer, throttle control and momentum racing. Everything you learn in karting sims, staying smooth, reading grip, makes you a better racer, especially in cars like the Ray FF1600 or the Skip Barber, where momentum is everything. And don't overlook data and practice. Use some offline training tools like VRS or Race Labs to study telemetry. Run AI races in iRacing itself to test weak tracks. Try rally sims like Dirt Rally 2 to boost reaction time and throttle discipline. The point here is you can rest from iRacing without resting from racing. Sharpen the skills elsewhere that bring them home stronger. Now, let's talk about the head game, because burnout is just as much mental as mechanical. Here's the truth, I'm going to start again. Now, as a mental first aider, I'm passionate about mental health, so a burnout can be quite worrying at times. But we're going to talk about the head game, because burnout is just as much mental as it is mechanical. Here's the truth, you can't control what happens on track, only how you respond to it. If you treat every bad race like a personal failure, you'll never escape the slump. But if you treat it as data, something to learn from, you will grow. Every crash teaches you awareness. Every penalty teaches discipline, and every spin teaches recovery. That's not losing, that's learning. And you have to give yourself permission to fail sometimes. We're only human. Because progress in iRacing isn't linear, as I mentioned before on previous podcasts. It's messy. Some weeks you're flying, others you're crawling. The trick is to see it is part of a bigger story and not a single bad chapter or a single bad week or a single bad race. Here's a mental shift I use myself. Every race is practice for the next one. It's as simple as that. If you adopt that mindset, you'll remove the pressure and rediscover the purpose. You start racing with growth once again and not numbers. If you focus on the numbers, then your burnout, your mental health will never recover. So, food for thought there. Set realistic goals each season. Don't set yourself things that aren't going to be achievable. Closing thoughts then. The love of the drive, I'm calling this section. At the end of the day, burnout doesn't mean you've fallen out of love with iRacing. It means you've lost your connection to why you started the hobby in the first place. Think back to first night on iRacing. That first clean lap again, the butterflies before the green flag. The sense that you were part of something bigger. A global racing world from your own seat in your own house, wherever you are on the planet. That magic never really goes away. It just gets buried under frustration, iRating and safety rating, other stats and the stresses from that. So if you're in that place right now, hovering over the uninstall button, stop. Don't quit, just breathe and reset. Try something new, as we've discussed on today's podcast. Take a week off, race AI, or even dive into another sim. But come back, because there's still that next clean lap waiting for you, that next overtake, that next late break move that makes you laugh out loud. That's the spark. And it's always there. Sometimes you just need to look at it again, but maybe in a different way. Well, I'm hoping Brendan's going to be back next week with our new secret segment we want to bring to the podcast. But for now, keep racing, keep learning, and remember every road, even the lowly ones, lead back to the same thing, the love of the drive. If you've enjoyed today's podcast and you think maybe somebody is suffering from burnout, please share the podcast with them, whether it's the one on YouTube or the one on the audio podcast platforms. We're happy to receive emails with suggested topics for the podcast. Don't forget to find it in the show notes. Anybody willing to sponsor the podcast, we're also looking for sponsors. And anybody else who would like to join us, please reach out to us. And you'll find us on social media everywhere you look as well. Until next time, happy iRacing, and I'll see you on the track soon.
Whatever it takes, we're racing, we're in the zone. Whatever it takes, we push hard, never alone. I'm in the cockpit, the engines roar, hear me now. We're racing circles, got a hustle made a vow. Chasing victory, it's all or nothing on the track. Sweet is my motto, nothing's ever holding back. Whatever it takes, we're racing.